Hello everyone, RemedyX here, and today I'm going to be doing an update to my Kinnan Bonder Prodigy deck. It is a CEDH deck. This here is my Mox field. I will put a link to this in the description, so if you want to bring that up now so you can go through it with us, that's fine. If you want to just take a look at it after and do whatever. Any suggestions, comments, concerns, anything like that, leave down in the comments section below. So we're going to get into it. So Kinnan, I already made one video on Kinnan, so I'm going to kind of do like a quicker version of this. I've just made some edits and I kind of want to go over why I've done these things. But for those of you who haven't seen the other video, go check it out. I'll do a quick run through everything here. So Kinnan, Bonder Prodigy, he's a 2-mana 2/2 human druid, legendary creature for blue and a green. Whenever you tap a non-land permanent for mana, add 1 mana of any type that permanent produced. Pay 5 green blue, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a non-human creature from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest to the bottom of your library in a random order. So you want your deck to have a non-humans in it, and you want a bunch of mana producers. Kind of what he screams, right? So he's a really solid commander. I think he's like tier 2, I would say. He's not like the top tier. He's not the Turbo Nas deck, stuff like that. He's not super stacks. He's somewhere in the middle of like a reactive combo kind of thing. Well, combo obviously it's CDH, but um, so how you actually win is something with like Jace here. When you draw your deck out, you win kind of thing, or Thassa's Oracle, which is in the deck as well. Um, So how do you do that? There's a few ways, but another way to win here is Walking Ballista. If you just go make infinite mana, Walking Ballista just wins you the game. You make an infinite-sized Walking Ballista, shoot everyone down, you win. So going through the creatures here, we got a bunch of mana dorks, birds, a paradise boreal druid, elvish mystic, finhorn elves, Llanowar elves, Quarian Ranger kinda, it like untaps your dorks, then you can tap them again. Uh, Prophet of Distortion is also just a hey, infinite colorless mana, I win the game button kind of thing. Because you just draw your deck until you hit one of your I win if my deck's empty pieces, and then you slam it and you win the game. I generally try to draw until I hit Hangerback Walker first and try to win with Hangerback Walker, and if someone stops that, then I keep drawing and win the game from decking myself kind of thing. Or I could put Hanger Walker back into my deck with, or on top of my deck with Academy Runes. So really good stuff there. Spectral Sailor, I have to have blue mana, but it does the same thing as Prophet of Distortion. It's 4 mana, draw a card. Just Prophet of Distortion needs colorless, it needs blue. Bloom Tender, 2 mana, makes mana for each color of among permanents you control. Collector Oof, I am running artifacts in here, but I run a lot of mana dorks, which other decks don't. So this is so much more beneficial than it is a negative. I do still run like the super good artifacts because odds of hitting them together is kind of low. And if you're already hitting your super powerful artifacts, you might just win the game without them. If other people are going harder than you, then turn theirs off. Ghostly Pilfer, just a really good draw card. Illusion Caryatid, just more mana dorks that make any color. Same with Incubation Druid and Mara Leaf Pixie, Paradise Druid. Prismite is a way to filter my mana, so it's pay 2 color or 2 of any color, make 1 of any color. So when you make your infinite colorless, if you need like blue mana for Spectral Sailor, this makes you infinite blue. Not to mention, if you just make infinite mana and you have this, you can make both green and blue and just activate Kinnan's ability until you get everything you need in play. Scavenging Ooze, kind of just a hate piece for graveyard decks. Sylvan Caryatid makes any color. Thassa's Oracle is a win game button. Thieving Skydiver to take your opponent's pesky artifacts. Thrasios, another win the game button because you draw your deck out. Endurance is another graveyard hate deck piece. It is super, super good. If you can budget it, go for it. Proxy it. I don't care, man. Endurance, super good against all the Underworld Breach decks that I come across. Gyre Engineer is probably like my worst mana dork, but it makes blue and green at the same time, which can be beneficial because it can make infinite mana without Kinnan in some places. So, yeah, really good. Um, Reclamation Sage just gets rid of artifacts and enchantments that are in your way, such as opponent stacks pieces, stuff like that. Trophy Mage finds you Basalt Monolith, which makes infinite mana. Now, I do believe Trophy Mage is the only human in the deck, so you can't get it off Kinnan, but it's still just so good. It's basically just another copy of your Basalt Monolith, and trust me, you are willing to pay 6 for Basalt Monolith in this deck. Like, yeah, it gets you infinite, so... Frilled Mystic and Mystic Snake, they're really weird inclusions for most people. A lot of people don't include these in their Kinnan decks. I like, if I can just flip into a counterspell off Kinnan in reaction to someone because it's not in my hand, it's super good. It's just like, if something said draw 7 cards, put a free card into play, then put 6 on the bottom, it's so insane. You literally just get to go through the top and dig 5 cards through. And did I say 7? Sorry, 7 in his activated ability. The cost. It's only 5 cards. Um, anyway, I think they're super good and highly underrated for CDH because they're 4 mana counters. Yeah, I get that. And they're creatures. But that's also good. Consecrated Sphinx, I should not have talked about Consecrated Sphinx. Whenever an opponent draws, you draw 2 cards. Super, super, super good. Torrential Gear Hulk, it's another copy of Counterspell that I can hit off of Kinnan. Uh, Diluvian Primordial is I get to cast my opponent's counterspells or combo pieces. I've gotten some pretty decent things with it. I've had Oracle in play, and I scryed and knew I had Primordial on top. I don't think that is in here anymore. I was playing Scroll Rack, actually, is what I think I used. Yeah, I used Scroll Rack to put Primordial back on top, and I cast Thassa's Oracle, and in response, I got to Primordial to get my opponent's, I think, Tainted Pack to deck myself. So, Hallbrigger Horror is one of the new additions. This card is just insane. Play Hallbrigger Horror. Flash can't be countered. Whenever you cast a spell, choose one. Return target spell you do not control to its owner's hand. So it is a counter spell, pretty much. If I cast anything, I get a counter spell. And then return target non-land permanents to its owner's hand. For the other option. So this can be your own stuff, which is just Polytyrant. So it's play a free rock, bounce a free rock, tap free rock for mana, play a free rock kind of thing. Super, super, super good. Regal Force, underrated, but you get to draw a card for each green creature you control when it enters. If you flip into this with Kinnan, you can just draw like 6 cards pretty regularly. And it's just a 5/5 body, and this deck can definitely just beat someone. Neoform, Eldritch Evolution, they grab your combo pieces out of your deck, so they can grab Trophy Mage to get you your Basalt Monolith. They can grab Incubation Druid is a really good one, especially with Neoform, because it puts a 1/1 counter on it. So then Incubation Druid taps for 4 mana if you have Kinnan in play, which is so good. Then you got your counterspell stuff. Brainstorm, that would be a way to put Primordial back on top. Yeah, Pact of Negation, Dispel, Flusterstorm, Mental Misstep, Mystical Tutor for the obvious tutors. Noxious Revival, put that Primordial back on top after they counter it, flip into it again. Actually, one of the underrated things about Kinnan is you cannot counter his flip. You can counter the activated ability, but once you start doing the effect, you do not get a chance to counter the creature that enters, because it doesn't use the stack, it is just put into play. The ability goes on the stack, but as soon as you start to resolve the ability, they cannot interact with the creature entering play. Now, enter the battlefield abilities that trigger, they can interact with and counter those. But they cannot counter the creature, if that makes sense. Swansong, Veil of Summer, Whirly Tutor, Arcane Denial. Arcane Denial is probably the worst counterspell I'm playing in here, but I wanted to keep my counterspell package really cheap, and I just felt like I needed a little more. If you guys got other good options that are like 2 mana or less, let me know. Also, I was playing this with Narset a lot. Old iteration, I played Narset Parter of Veils. I believe that's what she's called. And it says your opponents can't draw extra cards. They only can draw 1 card a turn. So it's just you counter their thing, each of you draw 1 on the next turn, which is super good. Unless it's their turn, then they skip the draw step, so it's really only their one draw for the turn. Counterspell, mana drain, return to nature, more graveyard hate, also enchantment hate, also an artifact hate, so just super versatile piece. I'm playing Disallow over Stifle, just because it can counter actual spells, not just their abilities. The ability clause is a big part of why it's there, but if you can just counter their thing from coming down, then that's just better. Fierce Guardianship, obvious. Force Negation, Corrosion Grip. This is just get rid of that thing and you can't interact with me kind of thing. Whirl of Invention is another way to grab Assault Monolith out of your deck. Force of Will, obviously. Chromox, Lotus Petal, Mana Crypt, Mox Diamond, Mox Opal, Mana Vault, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Basalt Monolith, and Mirage Mirror. So Mirage Mirror is another new addition. I didn't understand the way this combo worked, so I'm going to quickly go over it with you. So you have Basalt Monolith in play with Kinnan. So you have infinite mana. You have a Mirage Mirror. But you don't have the colored mana you want. So what you do is you take Mirage Mirror, and you're going to activate its ability there 20 billion times, however many times you want. Don't let any of them resolve, okay? And then after you activate it 20 billion times and you got all those on the stack, one of them will be a land, a blue-green land, or one or the other, whatever. So just say Tropical Island. And then the next one will be Basalt Monolith, and back and forth. So it loses this ability when it changes, but if you have those abilities on the stack, it'll keep changing. So what happens is the first one resolves, it becomes Tropical Island, you tap it for mana, for a blue. Then it becomes Basalt Monolith. It's still tapped, but it has Basalt Monolith's ability. So before you allow it to change back to the island, or the Tropical Island, you use Basalt Monolith's 3 mana ability to untap it. And then you allow that to resolve, so now it becomes Tropical Island again, and you tap it for green, and so on and so on. It's just a really good combo. Now you can, if you just have a forest and an island, you can still do it. You can just target the island, and then make your blue, becomes Basalt Monolith, you untap it, you target your forest, becomes, yeah, get it? But you have to declare all your targets earlier. You don't do it when they resolve, I believe. Carpet of Flowers, Mystic Remora, Sylvan Library, Freed from the Real. So this just goes off with anything that produces 2 mana and 1 is blue. So that's why I'm playing the Gyre Engineer or whatever it is. It makes blue and green at the same time. So you tap it for blue-green and then you use the blue from it to untap it. Infinite green mana, right? So super good. Penman's Aura, same thing. Intrude Alarm. This allows you to just like start going off when you're flipping with Kinnan. Ristic Study. Notable lands here is Academy Ruins is by far the, like, it is insane in this. People want to get rid of your problematic artifacts all the time. They want to get rid of your Basalt Monolith. They want to get rid of your Soul Ring, any of your Silence. Your Mirage Mirror is a high priority target. Like, just cutting Kinnan off of mana is huge. So they will try to get rid of your artifacts. Just keep that in mind. You get to put it on top of your library. Super good. Playing a good chunk of my fetch lands. 4 forests, 6 islands. I am an island-centric deck. Even though I do have a lot of creatures that are green, a lot of them also make green mana for the other ones. So really, like, 1 forest and then you're kind of good to go. Gaia's Cradle, obviously. Lair of the Hydra. This one's like a little surprising to people, but with a green mana and infinite with it, you just kill one person pretty much every turn. It notably does not have trample. So if it had trample, this card would actually be really nuts. Does not, but not a lot of people actually have a lot of creatures in play in CDH. Like, I mean, I swing an infinite Hydra at you, or 1 million Hydra. You're gonna block. You're gonna throw something in front of it if you have to. So it's also just like a piece of removal for a green mana. You know, super good. This is another one, Treasure Vault. So if you have that infinite colorless mana situation, you could just activate Treasure Vault, crack it for 20 million treasures or whatever, because you're going to put 20 million in for the X totals, and you're going to make 20 million treasures, and then you have infinite mana, essentially, of any color. And other than that, it's just fetch lands, and you have a Mana Coast. So, yeah, made some pretty quick edits to this deck. Some of them are really good. As you see, I'm not playing the um, reclusive taxidermist anymore. Um, that is a human, which was a missight on my part. I don't want humans. So, as you see, pretty much nothing in the deck is a human other than the um, Trophy Mage, which just gets you the Assault Monolith, and it's 100% worth it. It is awkward, though, when you're flipping for cards and you hit your Trophy Mage, so now you know your Trophy Mage is on the bottom of your library. Kind of sucks. Quarian Ranger is really good. There is a fairy that is like the same thing. It's like a 2 mana for 2/1 flyer or 1/1 flyer or Forest Walk, maybe. I don't remember. Some like evasive ability. And then it does the same thing. Return a forest you control to your hand, untap target creature, activate this ability only once a turn. Oh, sorry. A little bit of yawn. Does like the same thing. I just felt like my list is actually kind of tight. I really want a lot of this like draw your deck out effect. Just because there's such high priority things, and then other than that is just trying to get infinite mana and draw a bunch of cards, and then interaction. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think of the deck. This is a much quicker update than the last one. Also, I don't know if it was in my last one, but I'm playing Reclamation Sage now. I don't know if I said that. I was playing Manglehorn for a while. The ability to get rid of enchantments is like quite useful. Manglehorn only getting rid of artifacts is troublesome. I just didn't feel the entering tapped was worth. I mean, it is worth. I don't know. It's hard because Minglehorn makes your opponent's artifacts enter tapped, and when it enters, it destroys an artifact. Rex Sage destroys artifact or enchantment. Just having room for both is kind of hard. So, and this is where I settled at for now, at least. I might change it. People might be questioning the rapid hybridization. If people get to resolve a creature against you that you can't deal with, it's kind of hard. So there's the one of rapid hybridization to deal with that, but most creatures, like I said, you can deal with. You generally play the bigger creatures. Also, I didn't mention it, but I took out Nezahal for Hallbrigger Horror, um, and the taxidermist was for the Mirage Mirror. So, I think that was really pretty much it for my edits. I think if you caught the last video, if not, well, this is the video now. Some people might ask why I'm playing Jace over Laboratory Maniac. Basically, they just do the same thing, except Jace costs 1 more mana. He does have 3 blue pips instead of Labman's just 1. But he also just, like, gets me to draw more cards. Yeah. Target player puts top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard, draw a card. So, I've also had, like, someone mystical tutor, and then it becomes my turn, and then I just mill what they tutored for. Like, yeah, it happens. People mess up sometimes. Yeah. I just figured paying 1 more mana to draw a card is worth it. Now, you can't flip into Laboratory Maniac with Kinnan because he is a human. If he was not a human and you could flip into him with Kinnan, I would do it. But you can't. So, that's why I went with Jace. So, let me know opinions, disagreements. Oh, one last thing. A lot of people play like Training Grounds and stuff like that. I did toy with it for a long time, actually. And it's really good with Thrasios, specifically. And it's okay with Kinnan. It does cut his cost down a lot. But outside of just activating Kinnan, it just wasn't good enough. Like, it just didn't do enough. Like, sure, it brings Prismite down to a 1-to-1 ratio, because it can't be 0. It won't take it down to 0, obviously. Yeah. Like, I mean, it does affect, like, Prophet of Distortion and Spectral Sailor as well. I just didn't find it quite good enough. I'm just trying to slam infinite mana instead of grinding, you know what I mean? So, yeah, difference in opinion and deck building. So, let me know what you guys think. I will put a link to this in the description below. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know what you think. I'm going to have another video coming out here soon about Kinnan's baby brother, as I like to call him, Zerto the Dawnwaker. He's similar to Kinnan in a lot of ways, except he's red-white. So stay tuned for that, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.